Hello everybody, I'm Tom Matuska here with the Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company with Amber Ingalls Wilder, and today we're going to show you a little bit about water. And if you tuned in last week, you saw us take styrofoam. We made our own bases. You can buy pre-made bases that have a basin for water. We made one. We actually took foam, and if you didn't see it, I think they can go back and look. We have them on our website. This is nothing more than a piece of plywood cut to the shape you want. Kind of gauge it to your specimen, whether it's a bird or mink or whatever it happens to be, even a fish, and we pour foam over that plywood, 2-part foam. We use it in the shop every day. This is our 3-pound density foam. Somebody asked us last week if you can use the great stuff. You can use it. We don't like it near as much as our product. Our product is a nice, firm product, but a lot of people use great stuff, and I think you can make it work for you. We took the piece of plywood, we covered the whole thing, poured foam on it. Remember, we like to stick it up on a block so the foam actually runs off over the edges, then you don't get the lifting. We used to get a lot of lifting, and then we'd have to patch that under spot, and it made kind of a mess. Okay, that's how we got this. This is nice and solid. You can stand on it. It'll hold rods, it'll hold bird rods, whatever you're gonna put on. From there, we covered that base with the ground cover of our choice, and this is peat soil, and we like to seal this first. So we roughed it up a little bit because it's a slick surface, painted it with watered down Elmer's glue and water, let it dry because we want to seal it. Then we painted straight Elmer's glue on, excuse me, and then covered it with peat soil. Pack it on really tight, shake off the excess, patch any spots that are bare, and let it dry. Shake off the excess, patch any spots that fell off, and then we sealed this with a mixture of Elmer's glue and water, thin enough. What would you say?
70-30.
70% water, 30% Elmer's glue in an atomizer, a squirt bottle. We saturated it from the top. We don't want to get these bases done really nice, pretty base, and it goes onto the customer's house and it's, dirt and that sort of thing is falling off onto his coffee table. So you want it on there nice and solid.
Yeah.
And we'll do that several times during the process of doing the base. Now, this will give us something that we can plant grasses on, we can plant wood on, we can do all kinds of things. This is the one, this is how we got to this stage. Now remember, we talked about last week, if you want to put water on here, you have to have some kind of basin, otherwise the water's going to run all the way off and you'll just have a wet looking spot. It's nicest if you can create a little bit of depth. So we took a rasp before we ever put the dirt on, and we made a nice basin. We made it around here. I just went outside and grabbed that little stumpy piece of cedar log out here. These are actually real rocks that I picked off out of the parking lot.
Did you do straight glue for the first seal?
For the first seal, I mixed, you have to use kind of stronger glue because otherwise it beads up. So I thinned it because it dries faster, but you can use straight glue. And but I thinned it because it dries faster and painted on a thin mixture, maybe 50-50. If it starts beading up on your surface, just keep stroking it. As it starts tacking up, it'll seal it for you. And you could spray on a sealer, but it seems like if you seal the styrofoam first, this stuff doesn't come off in hunks. Okay, so we took that base. This is some of our moss-covered vine. What's it called in the catalog? That's like the best stuff ever.
Vine. Yeah, vine with moss, yeah.
And we planted some little grasses here. This is natural preserved grasses we have in the supply company.
Someone was asking which grass last week you used on that, and I want to say it was the nylon, wasn't it?
It was the tall grass blades.
And you can this one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So the grass that they used was the Mylon grass.
It's really nice stuff.
Right there.
Yeah, it's got good width.
So now, this is just gonna be, I guess I call it a marshy seam. Once your ground cover's on, you have all your components, elements I like to call them. The more elements you put into a base, the more lifelike it tends to look. So one of the elements is the loggy branch here, the grasses, the rocks, all different elements. We added some moss. Another thing that really helps tie everything together is I sprayed the entire base with Elmer's Spoon water, and I took our sheet moss that we get. It comes in a bag, and there's always a lot of crumbs in it. I hold it up above and I sprinkle it, and it kind of ties your moss into your base without looking like stark contrast where the green meets the brown. It kind of ties it all together. So we like to do that. We do nice bare bases that are real woodsy scenes and things like that, and we like to do that. So now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pour water. Now we're not going to cover the whole thing with water. Remember, I only took a rasp and I made a small valley down in here, and this would be a great little scene for a wood duck. And we're going to fill that water up, and we're going to put some pondweed in there to give it a really nice, realistic type look. We can put a little, that wood duck climbed right out of the water, and we can put a little water up on here. We can put some pondweed and things like that.
I want to give a shout out real quick. So again, we're Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, and we do these live videos every Thursday. And we have giveaways. So every week we do a giveaway at the end. So you want to make sure you stay tuned and also share. So Mark Drexler, Chris McDonald, and Darren Carter are on top of the game, and they know the routine because they already shared the video. But you have a chance to win at the end. You have this wood duck, a Corey Crothers Wildlife Illusions wood duck body and head right here. You have one of our habitat scene bases, one of our rock clusters, or a tape measure. So again, all you have to do is share, let us know you shared it, because sometimes privacy settings don't let us see that. But make sure you share, like it, give us some thumbs up, and whatnot for your chance to win.
I feel so bad for the people that get the tape measures that I always send them something extra the next day.
It's kind of like mom sending me to bed hungry and you give me cinnamon toast.
Okay, now let's talk about water. There's a few different things you can use for water. One of the most economical ones that works really well, and this has been around for, 80 years. This one is from US Composites. It's called Silmar 41, and it's a clear polyester casting resin. And it's interesting to note that I was doing this when I was 10 years old. I was making paperweights, and I got a kit where I got the resin. I mean, you're not supposed to give a 10-year-old this and MEKP and things like that, but I got little molds, and I would make earrings for my mom, and I raised seahorses at the time. Did I ever tell you about raising seahorses? I bought, in the catalog, you used to be able to buy little monkeys for one thing. Can't do that anymore. But now, or back then, you could buy mated seahorse pairs. And I would get these seahorses. They come in the mailbox, and they'd be in a little plastic bag, and they're live seahorses. And you mix up your salt water and things like that. And the males, in no time, the males have to carry the babies, and they have the babies. And when the seahorses come out, they just tumble. And I had like 20 baby seahorses at one birthing. And these things are little bitsy, and they lived like for 30 minutes, no more. So what do you do with these baby seahorses? You buy some casting resin and some molds, and you make earrings for your mom. And so I found them last night. I have earrings that I made for my mother that are baby seahorses, 1/2 inch tall. That's how I've done this 50 years ago.
How old were you?
Oh, I couldn't have been more than 8, 10.
We got Mike from Kandahar, Afghanistan, the Army, saying that he shared it. Thanks for watching, Mike.
Wow,
and a
thanks for
huge
watching.
Thank you to you and all the other servicemen and women out there fighting for us.
Stay
so thank
safe.
you.
All right. Now, there's other companies. US Composites is just one company. We carry this in the supply company, but there's a lot of other companies. This is basically a polyester resin, the same as Corvette fenders, motorcycle gas tanks, canoes. It's fiberglass. It's the glass portion of fiberglass in a clear variety. It's clear polyester resin. You might buy it as casting resin. Supply companies carry it as scenery resin, different things, but it's made to be poured thicker. You can't pour fiberglass polyester resin very thick because it'll crack and do lots of bad things. This is meant to be poured in a little bit thicker version. When you buy this, it'll come in a metal can like that. You're going to get a mixing sheet. Follow this very, very carefully. And over here, it's going to have the amount of ounces that you're going to use, and you're going to measure out the ounces. We usually weigh it. I'm not sure it makes a huge difference if you weigh it or measure it, either way. And then it tells you over here, you have the choice of a 2% mix, which is very, very, we call it hot. It's going to set up fast. Usually with a hot mixture, there's drawbacks. There's shrinkage, there's crackage, and there's discoloration. So be careful with the hotter mixes. There's a 1% mix, there's a 0.5% mix, and a 1/4% mix. If time is of no importance to you, you can go with the 0.25% mix, and then you're gonna have to cover it up, keep the dust off of it for maybe a couple days before it really sets up like you want it.
Sure.
If you're in a big hurry, the 2% mix, but expect a little bit of shrinkage and distortion. So with that in mind, you don't want to use waxed cups. Waxed cups will discolor this. This will eat into your wax and you're going to get a milky. Sometimes we'll use a waxed cup if we want an ice type of a look because it'll take away the clarity a little bit. You'll be able to see it. So we don't use the waxed cups. Instead, we go to the garbage and we get our employees' Monster drink containers.
I think that's Jake mainly. Kirsten.
Thanks, Jake. I cut up all your cans. And metal cans. There's no wax. You throw them away. Works great. I'm going to weigh this out.
You're going to talk water scenes later, right? Or water splashes, sorry.
Water splashes?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Lauren, stay
say, I
tuned.
thought
They're going
this
to
one-
talk about that later. Sorry. They're going to.
I was confused. I thought you were confused.
I am usually.
All right. Now, you're going to have a lot of people tell you they've used this stuff and it turns real yellow. And it can turn yellow. And we were just talking about that before we started today. I have a bufflehead scene that I did for my son when he, how old's Mark? 30?
35.
35, and I did it when he was probably 10 years old. 36. I did it when he's probably 10 years old, and it is very, very clear. It's been in the showroom ever since. I have done it. 37?
He's 37.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty close to 50. I also have one that I touched up for a customer that I'd done, and in a short amount of time, it turned extremely yellow. So it's most of the time, it's the amount of MEKP catalyst that comes with this. Every container you get, you're gonna get enough catalyst
And you can also order extra.
to set it up, and you're gonna order extra. This is something, be careful. It's not good. You don't want to get it in your eyes. You don't want to get it in your mouth. It's
a
just
bad chemical.
Bad chemical. MEKP it's necessary to set this stuff up, but be careful with it. Okay, now I weigh this and I get approximately with the can 4 ounces, which is a great plenty. If I look at my chart, now I want to back up a little bit. When we did the styrofoam, the first thing we did was sealed it. And then we painted on straight Elmer's glue. You could use Mod Podge, any white glue, something that dries clear. We painted that on the base and packed our soil or sand or P-rock or whatever you want to put on. We put all of that on there. Then we sprayed our Elmer's glue mixture over the whole thing, let it soak in, did it again, let it soak in, and let it dry. This foam will, I don't know if you want to call it seep or exude gases. And we have finished right over here and poured water. You and I did a swan scene, and all of a sudden Amber goes, "What's this?" And it looks like there's a fizzy down in your water, and it's gas coming out of your foam. So it's very necessary to seal this foam very, very well. So you'll have the best results if you do not do your water in one pour. If you can build up the thickness a little bit by a little bit, it's way safer and you'll have a better product. If you fill it up too full and something goes wrong, you can't get it out of there to pour more on top. So you got to be a little careful of it. I like to mix my MEKP. I like to suck it up in a syringe. Now for this mixture, I have 4 ounces, and if I went to, let's do a 1%. I want 1.2 cc's. So I'm gonna want 1.2, I'm gonna want about that much. Now if I put more in, I can put 2% in. It's just gonna set up faster. A lot of people don't like to wait, and that's fine, but you're gonna expect adverse results usually. Oops, that didn't work. I'm gonna take my lid off. Can't get to it.
And then this one here, you had already poured once down in there, but you can go over that.
I did that to seal it.
Yep, and you can go over that. So if it does, you put some in,
So
you
there's
can
what
always
we got.
make it deeper by doing a second layer.
I'm a little bit over my 1.2, but I'm not quite at a 2% mix. Okay, I'm gonna stir it in. Now, with experience, you can forget the syringe and you can just put a squirt in.
Yeah.
You can just keep going and going and going and set it up fast. When you start doing that, sooner or later, you're gonna have something turn yellow or something crack. I did a big hippopotamus base with 2 hippopotamuses in it, and I had a big water base, and I got a little too antsy and poured a little too much, a little too hot, and it cracked right down the middle. Okay, now, when you mix this, wood stir stick, nice clean stir stick, and you're just gonna stir it up. You'll see striations in there as the catalyst mixes with the resin. Use this in a well-ventilated area because it's smelly polyester resin. Okay, you can stir that just a little bit more, and then go ahead and show them how to pour that in. Now you don't want to pour so much that you have it running all down the sides unless that's the look that you're trying to get. Now I did pour a little bit in earlier, and that's all set up. It's set up, you can see way down in the little crevice down in there. Now she's just gonna pour a little resin. This is the final resin pour. So if something goes drastically wrong,
It's my fault.
this is what you're gonna end up with.
Just to double check, too much catalyst will turn it yellow and brittle?
Yes. Put just a little bit up there too, because that wood duck climbed up there and he's
Like up on the
got
side
wet.
right up here
Sure,
or down
anywhere
in
you
the
want.
crack?
You're gonna put pondweed on it. We're gonna make it really realistic. Think about what your creature's doing. What did he do? He didn't just fall out of the sky and land on a branch. Maybe he did. Wood duck could, I guess. This one swam up, I guess.
Do you worry about air bubbles while mixing and pouring?
If you mix it really hot and you whip it really fast, you can end up with air bubbles in. This is not gonna set up fast. It'll set up, I'd say, it'll maybe gel in an hour if I do the 1% mix. That gives plenty of time for the bubbles to come to the top and pop. That should do. Now go ahead and let's make it look real realistic and put some of those pondweed,
Artificial duckweed.
duckweed, yeah. And these are actual seeds that are dyed that we
Show those, yeah.
carry.
And it comes in a bag, a 4-ounce bag, just like that.
It doesn't look like
It'll
a lot,
go
but
a
it
long
goes
ways.
Goes a long ways.
Yeah.
And you do it when it's wet.
Yep. Yep. And then I'll just tack right into the.
Well, they don't get that close together, do they?
Oh, Tom.
Just be creative. You got plenty of time. If you wanted to move them or coax them together or spread them apart or dig some out of there, you got plenty of time. Now, for any of you not familiar with some of these products, don't be afraid to get out in the sloughs and look at what you're trying to create. Observe what pondweed looks like. Here, you can put a little under here too. What it looks like, kind of look how your rocks lay on your base. A lot of times they don't lay just right on top. They'll be sunk half in and half out, and try to rebuild things that you see in nature.
Those Euro pins just have a use for everything.
She could use one of them long ones up there. On top of that rat. And don't forget, share,
Good work.
like and share,
Yeah.
like and share.
Like and share. Give us some thumbs up and share. So again, we're doing a giveaway at the end.
There you go.
And you have to be live to be present, and that would be last week's people that shared. Right next to the comments, there's a share button, and we have wood duck head and body, we have a base, we have a rock cluster, or a tape measure is your chance. You must be live. We'll announce the name. If that person doesn't come on, we're gonna pick a different person, and if they don't come on, it goes to one of our lucky live viewers.
Now everybody probably knows this, but it took me a long time to learn it. When you click share, then you have the choice of share in Messenger, share in public, share in something else, right?
You do. So you can share actually to a group, which would be like Taxidermy 101, Whitetail Discussions, there's bird ones.
What
or
do you want them to do?
You can do any. You don't want to over.
And it still counts?
Yeah. You could do all. There's a few people that share to 7 different ones.
Really?
Did you hot glue the rocks?
I did hot glue the rocks. I had to think what I did. Now, if I didn't hot glue the rocks and all of a sudden I think I should have a couple more rocks in there, I could set them right in this resin. This resin is a wonderful glue.
Yeah.
Now, this is getting pretty close to being done. Now, picture this. Picture one of these great Koi Carruthers bird bodies with a nicely mounted bird that you did, that you could even win, right? And this little wood duck is sitting up on this. That log doesn't exactly match him perfectly, but he could be sitting up on that, all fluffed up, with his little 1 foot curled up, standing on 1 foot. Pardon my little Harvey Moore feet that don't conform like they should. You can put a little drop of water like he's drinking. You can have him doing all kinds of things. You can have him down there feeding. You can just do anything. And you design the base specifically for this in mind.
Beautiful.
It's going to be. Now, usually with something like this, a lot of times our bottoms, look like that. We clean them up real nice before we start. Sometimes we'll put nice cork bottoms. Some people put felt. Another thing we like to do is trace this out, cut out a really nice piece of walnut or oak, and finish it, router the edges and finish it, and then put this down and screw it up from the bottom for a nice little adornment piece. Or you can buy them. You can buy them just like this. This one that somebody's going to win has the insert in it, in which you would seal this. You would put the ground cover on. You would put your rocks and pebbles, grasses, little snaggy branch, and you already have your nice
And the
walnut.
foam is already sealed, so you won't get
Foam
the
is
bubbles
sealed,
of
yes.
our marsh ones.
Right.
I think all
And
of them.
you have those in several different sizes, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can do some bigger scenes that are more sized like this.
Just to give you ideas of what you could do, this is a big walnut hollow solid base. People like this nice rich wood. I mean, this just reeks of value and quality. You could take something like that cover the bottom with black plexiglass, and we take a clear plexiglass, we paint the bottom of it black, stick it down on there, take one of our big rock clusters or something like that, put it on top, pour water over the whole works, and you have a really, really dynamic
Cool base.
piece to put.
We should sell a finished one like that.
Yeah, in my spare time I'll do that. Maybe I'll make you a whole bunch. But there's no and. I mean, you could take a little one like this, and you could take our little rock clusters, and you could do the same thing. These are just the best thing going. I mean, that would make a nice little base, whether it's a fish coming down, or a duck sitting on it, or.
And you just want to be really careful about when you do pour in here, not to make it too hot, because it'll affect the wood.
If you mix this too hot, what you're gonna notice, if I was pouring in 3/8 of an inch thick here, I would do one pour to seal it, and I would let that cure pretty good, like overnight maybe, and then I'd pour in another maybe 1/8 inch to make sure all is going well, and then it'd be maybe a 2-day process to fill that. That way you don't have to worry about it shrinking. If it does shrink and pull away from the edges, your next pour will heal that. It will go in there, and lots of times you can't even tell where that happened. Do you want to do your little thing?
Yeah, we can do our giveaway from last week. And then, just so you know, the nice thing about our giveaways is if you're not watching it live, you can like and share, tag a friend throughout. You can do it tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way to Thursday. And Kirsten will pick the winner on Thursday afternoon, so you have time if you're not watching live. So, last week's share winner is Johnny Freitas from California. So Johnny, you have about 20 minutes to tune in and claim your prize. Otherwise, it's going to be passed on to the next person. Johnny Freitas.
You just keep right on and talking there. I'm going to be back in
Oh,
a couple
no, I
seconds.
can go ahead and share that while you're.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, bathtub one. All right. Okay, now.
Took our giveaway.
Oops, sorry. Sorry. These are so cool. I can't tell you how cool these are. We have people in the shop all the time. We have these a lot of times for our driftwood for our fish. And driftwood has been overused a lot, you know, and it's kind of always seems the same. So we started adding these, and rarely do we have a fish customer that doesn't add something like that.
You can do those with the bases. It look nice.
It's nice.
Fit good too.
It's very nice. That's a good product. Come in all different styles. All different styles. Okay, a lot of people have asked about splashes. So we're going to show you a method of doing splashes. There's all different kinds of ways to do splashes. And I want to say that clear scenery resin or polyester resin is one product. There are also epoxies.
Envirotex, isn't that?
Envirotex, yes. Envirotex is a 2-part epoxy. It can be painted over this, and on another segment we'll show you the epoxy. It's a little bit different to work with, kind of user friendly, but you can do things with polyester resin you can't do with the epoxies. Okay, now.
So what did Amber go do?
She went and microwaved my polyester resin, my clear scenery resin,
For how long?
because she likes the smell of the
Yeah,
fumes.
I know. If you're gonna do it in your wife's microwave, be careful because they might not be too heavy.
Like a
You
minute?
want it?
40 seconds.
I told her bathtub warm. This is
Yeah.
comfortable. A guy could get in it and not scream. Girls like hotter baths, but it's nice and toasty warm. Otherwise, you're going to wait too long, and you want to keep the process moving. Okay, a lot of people do these type of splashes. There's lots of different ways, and I would call them a freeform splash because you're going to be in control of the shape of the splash. you can take a garbage bag, make sure it's a heavy one, not one of those really cheap little recyclable ones. Garbage bag, plastic bag like this. Garbage bag will work, just make sure it's the heavy kind. And I'm gonna open this up into one sheet.
Shirley, for the comments, for those of you, if you aren't seeing the comments or you want to see the comments, either way, if you swipe your comments to the side, so I just swipe left, swipe right, they're back. Swipe left, gone, back. Kind of like that. It gets rid of your comments so you can see more. Larry Wiggins wants to know, if you do cut wood for your base, how do you debug it and seal it?
We try to stick with cedar whenever we can. Otherwise, you're gonna wanna saturate it with ortho. Is it ortho, like any of the lawn and garden products from ortho that you can get at your nurseries?
Smells terrible.
Most of the time it's malathion and it smells terrible. So if we ever use something natural that we found, we will saturate the piece of wood or whatever it is. We'll put it outside for a week before you can stand to have it inside.
Do it outside.
I know, and do it outside. Okay, I'm gonna pour that resin on here. The reason she heated it up for me is because it will set up way fast and I'm not gonna be stirring it for a month. I'm gonna pour it on here, but the bottom, because this is so smooth, is gonna be really flat and kind of phony looking. You can add a little bit of realism by taking your plastic bag and crumpling it up. I've seen people do tinfoil.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and that's just enough to help. Okay, and
You're
then,
gonna do the whole thing?
sure, no, give me
Partials?
yeah, pour me, I'll tell you when to stop. Good. And you're gonna measure out your catalyst because you wanna know exactly how much to put in. So I put in about 1.2 cc's. Yeah, grab it there. And then, this is the important part. You have to feel it start to harden. So you don't set it aside and wait a while. As warm as this is, it's gonna set fast. So I'm gonna stir until I feel some resistance. As soon as I feel a little bit of resistance, I'm gonna pour it and I'm going to attempt to shape some kind of a splash. Now, when you do this, if you need one splash, don't make just one splash because it's not gonna have a shape or texture that you want. Make sure that you make 3 or 4 or 5 or 10. You can wrap these up in plastic and save them.
We had a student the other year make an entire waterfall kind of a thing.
Oh, we had that on your, where did you guys use it? Didn't you just use it, Dave?
Made it.
D2s?
Compton, Dave Compton.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it was
An
on
old
for this.
student.
For this show?
Yeah.
For this segment?
Yep, yeah, he had a whole
He's
stream-like
watching, too.
thing happening, and it turned out really cool, but it was done this exact same way.
And I have to admit, I wasn't on board with that entire project from the beginning to the end. And thank goodness Amber stuck with him because I thought it's just too much. You're pouring this duck. That duck's not coming out. He's being poured in this running water. And we have room for error. And it turned out like really nice. Really, really nice.
It was a very original idea.
Can you heat the resin with a hairdryer?
I don't think so. I have done different things to get splashes. I have put the hairdryer on and thinking the hot air would, do it. It didn't do it.
Ray wants to know where he can watch the videos. So you are with Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, and if you go to our Facebook page, there's a video tab, and we've been doing it for almost a year now, every week. But you can hit that video tab, and it will show you from the first one that we did, all of them, so you can rewatch any of those.
What's the product you're using again?
This is called clear polyester casting resin. You might buy it by the name of scenery resin, polyester scenery resin.
Ours is clear scenery resin.
Okay, now I'm starting to feel
Right
a little
here.
bit of
Clear
resistance
scenery resin,
here.
and it's a quart or a gallon.
Okay.
Gotta watch quick here.
Yep. So it all of a sudden kicked. He felt the resistance and quick pour it on, but you can see it's already gummy.
See how gummy it turned?
It did happen fast,
Got to tell you.
really fast.
Okay, I'll give you the other side of the paper and you can do them.
Did I ruin it? Oh, I didn't know if you were too late.
No, perfect. Want me to measure it out careful for you?
And they don't, if, they don't look like a whole lot at first, but then when you peel them off, it's like, whoa, you know, oh my
Okay,
God.
this is gonna be a little bit like we always refer to a cooking show because we have to do things ahead of time to show you what the outcome is.
Right.
We will show you what these look like. And that's pretty warm resin. I like warm resin because it goes fast, but that took a while to set up.
How
Usually it
long
doesn't take-
does it take for this that you
Oh.
can peel it off?
Now, I'll show you what I like to do with that is I like to take this and cut the sheet of plastic.
You're using our game bag, right?
Yes, that's just a game bag. And now this will stay flexible for a long time and it won't run off here now. And I will take my garbage pails and tip them on their side and lay this over a garbage pail or a 5-gallon bucket and it will give me my curved shape, you know, so I have a nice curved shape. Works
And
pretty good.
if you don't have the correct shape, you can take a heat gun
Hot water or a heat gun, a hairdryer.
after
can do
they're
it.
hard
Yep.
and you're ready to put them on.
And this really won't be ready to peel off. I did some this morning for tonight's segment, and I'll peel them off. They're probably still gonna be a little bit flexible, but we'll show you what they look like. And then on another segment, we might show you how to use them.
Remember to like and share for your chance to win next week. And John freed us. If you're watching, let us know so you can claim your prize.
There's a lot of people that don't tune in to claim their prize the next time, it seems.
We actually picked another one that shared to pass off. So he's got 5 minutes and we'll offer
Write
it
him
to
off.
somebody else. And then it goes to one of the live viewers with the number. Can you see the resistance or do you just feel it?
You feel it. I'm just feeling for how easily the stick is moving through this, and then all of a sudden it just kind of goes, whoa, and you can kind of tell.
The warmer you have it, the faster it goes.
I thought I had it pretty nice and warm, but
I do too.
obviously
I do too. It
could've-
takes a while. It's a slow batch of catalyst. And I don't know if we'll have time. I'm gonna have time to show them the other icicle method.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I think we can work it in.
I think so. Well, aren't you the optimist?
While you're making, should I take this apart while you're making another one?
Sure.
Okay, these are two that I made this morning and exactly the same way. And they have sat since, I suppose, about 10 o'clock this morning. You can see they're firmed up. I just grab on the underneath side, or grab the edge of them and pull them off. And I have something that could be used as a splash.
Now you can heat that up and bend it to what shape you want.
You can heat it up and bend it, and this one is not cured fully, and it can be bent a little bit now. See how I'm bending it? Like if I were to use it right now, we've used them too soon and put them on a nice jumping bass or duck mount, and the next morning they've laid down, flattened out. So you kind of want to let them get nice and cured. Here's another one. Depending on how long you let it cure or start to set before you stroke it, you get different textures. Oh, look at this. Is that not cool? That's kind of a beautiful little splash, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Mandy says, I bet we can sell them. You should make some more. Now, all these little pieces, don't get rid of them either. They'd be great coming off of a duck's foot or a fish's fin, you know, little pieces like this. And if you catalyzed it right, this should stay clear for years. Mm-hmm. You put in too much catalyst, it won't. It'll
Follow the
start
directions.
to yellow. Follow directions. And anytime, really, kind of get a second opinion on your directions. We have people all the time, like with our silicone rubber, you catalyze that at 10%. and people think 2 pounds, you're gonna catalyze it at 0.2. You gotta convert it to ounces, so 2 pounds is 32 ounces, so it's 3.2. So double check your recipes when you start doing that.
Are ripples done the same way?
Ripples on the Hippo base, this was a very big base, like twice the size of this table. And I poured the resin in and I stroked it just like Amber was doing, back and forth, back and forth. He was plowing water in the front and I had a little wake behind him. We do that with birds a lot of times, swimming bird mounts. And we will stroke it like he's plowing water with his chest, and there's maybe a wake behind, and you do it until it starts to gel like this, and wherever you made that crescent, there will be disturbance. Wherever you made that wake, there's gonna be disturbance. You do it a whole lot, it's looking like he's got a 10 horse behind him, you know,
Yeah.
so.
But if you want just a nice little ripple, you just kind of keep on making the same motion and just kind of keep on cutting into it, and eventually once it starts to harden, then it won't, when it's real wet, it'll just go right back together, and then eventually those ripples will start to stay. So just kind of keep on making whatever motion in the same manner over and over and over
Now
again.
sometimes you think, oh man, that would have been perfect. I wish it wasn't so big. You can break these or cut them.
Usually they just snap.
Rob and Michelle want to know about the catalyst. The catalyst is included with the resin, and it's actually measured, so you should come out with the same amount, be empty at the same
That's a
time.
tough one.
If not a little more catalyst, and then you can always buy more catalyst because we sell the catalyst separate.
And like if we do this a lot of times on jumping fish. So we would have a container of some sort, like a box that's if you're gonna do this stuff, a glass case is kind of really recommended because any of this stuff is dust collectors.
That's Ray just said, I have a problem with dust collecting on the water and it looks bad after a while. How do you keep the water splash clean?
Glass
Case, or we also have our fish acrylic shine. That works really well to clean as much as you can on the splashes. Those little microfiber brushes get in your little areas.
Yeah, this stuff will look so realistic when you give it to the customer and you see it a year later. Sometimes you're pretty disappointed in how
So is this the
how they took care of
process
it.
you would do if you were doing a fish jumping out of the water?
Yeah. Now we would take this. I'd do a box because I like to put a glass case over them. I would pose my fish the way I want him, maybe on a little piece of branch or something. It's probably going to be a double-sided fish. I would prop these in strategic spots. Maybe he's, going towards you. You can have little ones like he's plowing water. Where his tail is, you got big splashes like this.
Prop them how? Just have something underneath them on this
I
side
use
over
wires, I use all kinds of things to prop them up because once you pour more resin down all of this onto your fish, all down, the next day that all solids together and it really fuses everything together. But you gotta hold it and try not to do everything at one time. Don't hold 6 splashes at one time. How about we do 2 splashes? Yeah, they'll stay there. Run some resin down there, let it harden up and glue everything together. The next day come in, add another little bit to it, another little bit to it. This is experimenting stuff. You have to experiment with it and be familiar with its traits.
And it gets so fun that you're gonna have a hard time waiting 3 days.
We're gonna pass off Johnny Fridas. You are late to the party.
Oh, man.
So Jeremy Blum, you have 5 minutes if you're watching. Jeremy Blum to collect your winning. Otherwise, it's gonna go to another viewer.
Okay, Amber, let's show them how to make some simple little icicles that look extremely nice. We're gonna mix up some resin here again. There's a lot of different ways to make icicles. You can mold a lot of these products. We're just kind of freeforming splashes, freeforming icicles, and freeforming bases, but there's other ways to do it, and we're gonna touch on those in another segment also.
So one of the ways is to start off with cotton balls. And you can just take,
Are they rotten? Because you know if them cotton balls get rotten, you can't make any more icicles.
I'm gonna start off
That
with
is my
some
daughter
of
always
these and
looked at
just.
me like that. I'm gonna get it when we're on off the air.
So you can go ahead and just kind of pull them into any kind of length, shape that you want. Well, it would help if I would start with a branch that wasn't totally
Springy?
flimsy. Yeah, well, it's a little springy. I was just gonna look at trying to kind of hook it around. You could also just wrap it over too. And anywhere that you want an icicle to be. If you don't have the particular piece that you want it on, you can just do these off of wires too. You could just kind of freeform it off of a wire, and then just put a wire somewhere up on some kind of an armature and have them hanging. Take them off of the wire later and put them wherever you want.
That's what you were gonna do till I made you use.
Yes, that's
Natural
what I was
branch,
gonna
huh?
do. Here, you go ahead and. You should go find a branch. I can do that.
Now, this method is do it, add to it, do it, add to it, do it, add to it. Come back tomorrow, add a little more. It's not a one-time process and
I
done.
might have made this one a little big for the beginner. What do you think, Tom? I'm an overachiever, I guess. I'm just kind of. I want a big icicle.
And that's just soaking into that cotton, and it's giving it a real icy look.
Do you have a smaller one I could do here
do.
that might
Here's a little guy.
look a little bit better? I started off with the
You can put it
behemoth.
right down in there too, is what I do.
I know. I was thinking that too, seeing if I could just dip it.
Oh, that's looking good there. It is. Tom. It is. Now
I
this
got
is
this.
going to drip. These are going to drip all over the place.
Looking
So
a
make
little
sure you got them
snotty.
in a nice.
There we go.
Oops, you're going to lose your whole icicle maybe.
I know.
Here's a little one for you.
What if I pull it off? There.
There you go, that's
There we go. And we could just go ahead and start this new one up here. We'll just pull this out. If I can hold on to it long enough. And just kind of pull them, shape them to whatever, till you really get what you like.
Kind of tie it around there. There you go. Now let her go.
I kind of like that. I'm just gonna stick it right back in there. That worked kind of nice.
Now these will, as your resin sets up, it'll run a little bit out of that cotton and start to look dried out. Your next application later today or tomorrow is going to look much better, more realistic.
Right.
Gregory just tuned in. What product are you using?
Polyester casting resin. This is the stuff they make the paperweights out of. You
That's
see,
not the clear scenery resin?
yep,
Well, we have both. That's two different things.
same product. Clear scenery resin.
Clear
You
scenery.
call it, yes.
Yes.
When they get it, they're going to say, we got the wrong stuff.
Polyester. We sell that too.
It is polyester is, they're all polyesters.
But if they're looking in our catalog, it's clear scenery resin.
Right.
Do you sell it? We do. Gregory, if you scroll up in the comments, I believe we posted the link to it, and it comes with the catalyst that they're using. And also, since you are late to the party, you're with Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, and you can actually go to our Facebook page, like and follow and watch these videos every week. Otherwise, you can go to our video tab and rewatch. So as soon as this is over, you can actually rewind and watch from the beginning, along with going and watching all our other ones that we've done.
Now, as that resin permeates that cotton, you notice how the cotton starts taking on a clarity now? Looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And as the resin drips off the tip, you're gonna get these little, drips. If you want a real cold weather scene, get rid of your drips. If you want a thawing scene, leave your drops on.
Yeah, because when it'll harden, it'll have some of those little drips most of
What
the
else
time.
you got? You got some
You got some
here.
snow. You
Go
got a
on
little
that.
bit of snow. Here,
That's nice snow.
It is. It is. It's. Do you want me to put a little bit down the branch here so the snow sticks?
Sure.
So I'll just kind of wet the top of the branch with some of this resin, making it so that some of that snow will stick right up onto the top. And we're gonna make a really big bad mess underneath, all over that nice
Tweezers.
tweezers.
Now, something to note with the clear scenery resin, no matter what brand or wherever you get it, it will stay tacky for a while. This will be tacky. I did these water splashes this morning, hours ago, and I could probably leave fingerprints on them. So be real careful with them. They're not cured, and depending on how much catalyst you put in, you might have to be real careful for a day to two. If you do a water scene and you want it tack-free sooner, sometimes we will take Envirotex, and you can coat this with Envirotex.
Austin Lane, how do you guys get certified to do this? Because I've always wanted to. You can contact us at Northwest Iowa School of Taxidermy. We have a 9-week course that teaches you everything, and we also have a few 2-week courses, and you can call us at 1-800-488-3256. Talk to Vicky or Tom, and they will help you on your way. You're taught by 3 award-winning instructors. These are 2 of them, and they do a great job, so let us know, and we can send you some information.
Fat one.
I know, it is doing something kind of funny there.
There we go.
There, yeah.
Now you can tell that stuff's starting to gel, I think, isn't it? Now,
It's getting thicker, yeah.
you work on a little bit, you go to another spot, you work on a little bit, go to another spot. Now, picture this. You gotta imagine what you're doing. Say you take a base like this, and you rasp it all down, and you plant yourself a little tree like that, and then maybe you put a little pine around it, and a little branch on there, and Ron Grams or Tim Perkins or one of them grouse guys could do a ruffed grouse on there, put a little snow on the ground, and you would have, I mean, a really stellar mount. It would be awesome.
Will Envirotex work the same with the cotton?
The problem with Envirotex for me is it yellows.
The Envirotex?
It does.
What
And
about the clear scenery resin? Does that not if you use
the only way you can get by with Envirotex on a water scene is if you put on a thin coat on this, you won't notice the yellowing. It's so thin, it takes away the tackiness, but it's not yellow. If you pour straight Envirotex, I've never seen it, but I've heard, if you guys ever been in a bar, you know, that have a tabletop poured with Envirotex, sometimes it's yellowed, people tell me. Nobody gets my humor. No, but Envirotex, the epoxies sometimes will turn yellow. Now, when we show you epoxies on another, finally, I have to spell everything out. When we show you the epoxy water system in another segment, it's best to get UV stable, which means it doesn't turn yellow, and it's more expensive, and it will stay clear. But a lot of this water stuff doesn't stay clear forever.
So Ryan was saying that he has yet to find a product that doesn't yellow. And they're using our clear scenery resin, which you can find the link in the comments. But as long as you use the right amount of catalyst and follow the directions, it will not yellow.
The right catalyst, follow the directions. Don't over catalyze it. It will stay looking like this for a long time. Usually if we have yellowing, which we do, is because we got impatient and got too much catalyst.
All right, our 2 winners did not chime in. So do you want to pick a number? We have 200 viewers, 1 through 30, let's do. Or
Okay.
25, whatever you want to do.
Okay?
Let's do 1 through 30. So if you guys want to start picking a number 1 through 30, the first one we see, keep in mind, we get about 2,000 comments in a couple minutes, so it's the first one that we see on our time, and they will get to pick a bag. Do you ever put it on a deer to make your ice and snow?
Sure. But it's done. If you get it on and it doesn't turn out, your deer has resin soaked into the hair and it's never coming out. So yes, you
Yep.
can. If
Do
you're
a
ever at
whole
a
lot of playing.
Yep. If you're ever at a taxidermy competition and you see an elk or a deer with snow on the back and ice on him, you can pretty much guarantee they had a little problem with the seam. Snow on the back of a deer mount usually means something didn't go together quite right. Often.
Yes. But it can be a cool effect if
It
you,
can be a cool
if you
effect.
are gutsy enough to do it.
Careful, we got resin everywhere here.
Guys making messes.
We got a mess too. That's nice. This is cool.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
You got a number guesser yet?
Lots of guesses, but not the right one.
Kirsten sometimes is dyslexic.
Oh, really?
I don't even know what number. How do you read that?
Who's dyslexic? Pete graph is really.
Okay.
And so this snow that you're using actually has the crystals in it, like the sparkle. And then we also have our powder moss that can be just a straight.
This is actual shredded sheet foam, and we use like for our ice fishing scenes where we're going to have ice that a fish is swimming underneath in an ice hole, and you know, footprints up above on the snow. We use sheet snow, and this is nothing more than a powdered version of the sheet snow. And it's very handy to have, and it keeps you from having to.
1 through 20, right?
Larry Wiggins, you were close. Oh,
1 through 20.
hey, never got it.
Larry, you totally got it.
Larry Wiggins, you got it. Kirsten. All right, so Mr. Larry, you get to guess a bag. Would you like? You want to pick a bag?
Sure.
Tom, Amber, Mandy, or Kirsten? Bag. So guess Tom, Amber, Mandy, or Kirsten's bag, and we'll see what you win, and the rest of them will go into next week's.
I'd just like to.
So Larry will guess. You guys want to. So today you used the snow sparkle. You used the clear scenery resin. Don't pick Tom's. Oh my
I
goodness.
got a good one.
Larry Wiggins, pick a person. Pick a person. Tom, Amber, Kirsten, Mandy.
Is he still watching?
Well, he guessed like 4 times. Anyway, this is Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, and we are live every Thursday at 4:30 Central Time. If you're interested in school, you can give us a call, 1-800-488-3256. We're Northwest Iowa School of Taxidermy as well. We do have advanced courses, so even if you did school elsewhere and you want to just take your skill levels to the next, we have a great 9-week course for that as well.
And what are you doing next week? You need help?
Amber,
Oh, Amber.
what's in your bag,
What's in your bag?
Amber?
What's in my bag?
Water bottle?
No.
I took that out.
Oh, you got a
Ooh,
bird down
Larry,
there.
you
That's
got
a good
some
deal.
Corey Crothers
Yeah.
stuff. So we'll get that sent out to you, Larry. And remember to share the video. So if you haven't shared, let us know you shared it. And you'll be in the chance for next week. And next week, you guys are going to be using pan pastels.
We're going to show you some fun stuff.
So tune in for fun accenting and fixing and
Halloween.
Halloween.
Oh, Halloween.
No.
Everybody dress up that tunes in.
Yeah, send us your pictures.
Can they do that?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean
Send 'em.
on there. Can they send us pictures as,
Uh-huh.
as
They
we're
can post
going?
Yeah.
a comment, a picture.
Oh, that'd be
of it.
fun.
Halloween picture.
That'd be
We'll
fun.
pick the best dressed. Like it.
All right.
What do you use to clean up the resin before we hang out for Greg?
Typically lacquer thinner.
Lacquer thinner cleans everything up.
It kind of does.
Does. Lacquer thinner.
Use wax paper underneath
Yeah.
whatever you're doing.
Yep.
Respirator, fresh air, ventilation.
What size, John Black, what size shoe does Tom wear? Do you mean shoe? He's a size 10 shoe.
Uh-oh, I'm going to get my steel-toed Crocs.
Shirt, he's large. You're funny.
I'm pumped.
Austin, give us a call and we will talk to you all about the school information. But thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week, 4:30.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.